Hey guys, Cam McClellan.
Al Lewison.
Welcome to today's WOD. This is a series we're going to do. We're going to name it the Tim Smith series.
Timmy Smith.
Tim emailed us and he gave us a very appreciative email, and glad I could help out with the family life, mate. And now you and your partner both enjoy property, so I'm sort of like, I see myself as Dr. Phil now. But Tim also in his email, he outlined about 4 or 5 things that he wanted us to cover off in WOD. So I think the first one was ownership structure. So ownership structure.
Yeah, right, so we weren't really sure how to address it, so with a couple of ways we'd get really technical, but we thought it might be the right time for it. What we're going to start with, guys, just explaining through different ownership structures, and probably the triggers people should look at is maybe when it's time to switch into a new structure for owning their assets. So Cam and I both started our first investment property or properties were in our personal names. Now the reason for that, you just go down to your local real estate agent, you buy investment property, you're not really sophisticated in what you're doing, and like everyone, we did that. Now, I had probably 2 or 3 in my own name before I got to the point of realising that property investing for me was going to be more than something as a one-off haphazard thing. It's something I was going to make a career and a business out of. So I went and got some advice, and the advice that I got was around, as I said, the 3 structures, maybe some more if you include super, but personal, company and trust. And we thought we'd talk about why each of those, and as I'm thinking about it now, you could probably throw a self-managed super fund in, but don't really endorse buying property in self-managed super fund, so I'll leave that one out.
Sorry, I should say, I just remembered something when you said about we went and got advice at the start. So we went into this accounting firm, and this accountant was a big time property accountant. We went in there and we told him, we had a couple of properties each. We said, all right, this is what we're going to do. We need to get serious about our structure and our ownership. We heard about trust, you explain those, because we're going to have infinite properties. You go, shaking his head going, you silly boys, you're not going to have that. Well, I'd like to say, well, we proved you wrong. Anyway, keep going, mate.
You actually said I won't deal with you, too gung-ho, didn't you?
We probably were. Individual structure. Main advantage of an individual structure is obviously negative gearing. Negative gearing, you don't get the same benefits in a trust. They changed some of the hybrid trusts a number of years ago where you could get the negative gearing. They changed the laws on those. So nowadays, building a portfolio of growth properties, taking advantage of negative gearing while it's in Australia is definitely a must, I say, when building your portfolio. And when your property portfolio gets to a point where it's starting to kick over into the positive range, then you can start putting your properties into trusts.
We've talked about the repayment things, haven't we? Yeah. I'll do it again. We've talked about the earlier WODs, guys, but in terms of who pays for your property, 70% rent, 25% tax saving, and 5% you. Negative gearing is this part here, part of it.
Yeah. So as your rent increases, it cuts those out, and you don't have to worry about that. You get less negative gearing, and obviously the portion that you pay is the first one that comes out, which is obviously what when you deem you're positive at a neutral or positive point in time.
But really important, initially building your portfolio, building your equity.
Yeah. Trust, I'll probably do a separate WOD just on trust, and we'll go through that and what is a trust, and I'll get Al to drill us fairly well. I'm not an accountant, not a lawyer, but believe me, we've got a lot of different trusts, ownership structures between us, individually, separately, so we understand trust pretty well. We'll give you our interpretation of trust, where they've come from, that sort of thing. But
it's what we get asked a lot, guys, and the key ones are asset protection and protection for you.
Distribution of income.
Yeah, so that's the reason people move into a trust structure once they're getting a bit more sophisticated. It enables them some flexibility in terms of if there's income through your properties, you can distribute to beneficiaries. It enables you to be protected if something happens to your properties, and it allows your properties to be protected if something happens to you.
The big disadvantage of trust is the same advantage you get with negative gearing, you can't offset losses in the current year. The losses can be offset against future income that's derived from the trust or flowed down through the trust. But year on year, you have to cover the difference in holding costs, and that's probably the big disadvantage in trust, why you shouldn't go that way.
Now, trust, when you sell a property though, guys, can benefit from the capital gains discounts.
True.
If you own it over 12 months.
True. We desperately need to do a trust, what don't we?
We do. And the other entity that a lot of people buy property in is a company. They go and set up a company, they have a company, and they go and buy an investment property or portfolio in a company name.
Not the smartest idea, because you got we actually did it once. We had a trading company, purchased a property in it, told our accountant later that that year, and he said you guys are idiots. So obviously we reversed out of the situation because you got the risk. Because if issues with the company and the financial stability of that company, then you've got issues with that property.
So one advantage is tax deduction current year in terms of your interest expenses. They're a current year expense, not like Cam's saying carry the loss forward in trust. But when you sell a property, you pay company tax.
Your overall holdings, just to get down to it for Tim, but your overall holding structure, I believe for myself, and go and get your own advice, would be individual until you've built half a dozen properties and the rent starting to catch up and pay for those properties, the holding cost, and at that stage start shifting any new purchases into trusts, because they're a lot easier to transfer across to the kids later on.
We will reiterate, get your own advice, everyone.
Good point.